Today I'll be going over how to brief on the OPORD. OPORD is operations order and it's a mission you receive from higher that you have to disseminate and explain to your lower enlisted. First, I'll be going over how you're going to disseminate this massive amounts of information from higher. So the higher has their own OPORD that they disseminate to you is in the same 5-paragraph structure. So first is situation, the area of operation, area of interest, all of that, and then mission, execution, sustainment, and command and signal. So when higher briefs to you and your platoon sergeant, they're going to explain it in their through their eyes, which is a company OPORD. So when you receive it, you want to flip it to your platoon level OPORD. So first is the situation, area of operations, the area you're working in, area of interest. Maybe you're interested, like let's say there's a enemy artillery base northeast of your location. That's an area of interest because you might get hit with IDFs during your, let's say, recon. Moving on to the second paragraph, mission. You have to, when you're briefing it, I'll explain it further down. Uh, when you're briefing your mission, make sure to repeat it so that you're saying the mission twice. Everyone in your platoon understands what you're doing and why you're doing it. So make sure to explain the purpose after the mission. Execution, so the main three is scheme of fire that your FO, forward observer, will explain, your concept of operation, and scheme of movement and maneuver that are explained later in the slides. And then paragraph 4, sustainment. Most of the time your platoon sergeant explains the sustainment part. Each class has their own unique purpose, like class 1, water, and like why you need it, like what should the soldiers prepare for. And the squad leaders assign the team leaders, PCC, before you step off, like radios, make sure it's all on the same frequency. Make sure everybody's topped up on water, PCC, like that. And then lastly, paragraph 5, command and signal. Basically, the pace plan, hand and arm signals, it should be per the SOP. Moving on, the troop leading procedures. So this is the method of how you want to disperse the OPORD and in a timely fashion. So first, you receive the mission. You receive the mission from higher. After a few seconds, it should be really quick, like that, like issuing the warning order. So warning order should have 5 W's and also the timeline. You brief that to your squad leaders and they disseminate to their team leaders and they disseminate to everyone within their team. Third is make a tentative plan. So you're working on paragraphs 1, 2, 3, and 5. Your platoon sergeant's working on paragraph 4. Everybody's doing their own thing. And then number 4, initiate movement. People are moving around. They can do small rehearsals by the teams, maybe specialty teams. And then recon. So you can do a map recon if you're doing if your mission is a recon, or you can do a leader's recon for, let's say, a raid. And then complete the plan. Make sure to send initial report and also a situational report each time you're going through the phases down the road. Issuing the actual OPORD, make sure to have key members who are going to do like a specialty team. If that's really important to your plan, make sure they're getting briefed in that OPORD brief. And then lastly, supervise and refine. So this is really important. So make sure to do rehearsals, especially the simplest one, step rehearsal, where you step uh, for each phase you take a step, and then everybody knows what they're doing in that part of the phase. And then lastly, to tie everything in, make sure to have the principles of patrol in your head where you're doing everything. So this is really important because it gets you into a sense of what should be done and when it should be done. So like planning, reconnaissance, security, control, and common sense. So let's say for common sense, you're doing a recon as your mission, and then you don't want to bring all of your security squad. You want to do it by doctrine, because once you're out in the woods, you're making so much sound that even one person, if they break like a branch, they make so much sound that why would you bring an entire squad of security when you can only bring six, because that's like the least amount of people you can bring. So common sense, everything with the principles of patrol ties back in. All right, so let's get back into the situation. Briefing on OPORD. Let's say you're the platoon leader. So even before you do anything, you need to set up who is who. So most importantly, the forward observer. The FO is going to call up to higher where you're making the plan with the platoon sergeant. The FO is going to do TT LODAC and then do set up at least three. Five is really good. Pre-planned targets for smoke and high explosives. That comes in really handy for blue burning alternate when you're running out of time and the demo team doesn't have time to explode the enemy weapons. So you just call in high explosives after you're like 300 meters out, and it can also kill the enemy QRF. So FO is important. So make sure you pick someone who is good with, uh, common sense map reading, and then RTO. They should be informing higher up every time you're moving out and getting contact by the enemy. I forgot to put this in, but also appointment. Make sure you pick someone who knows what they're doing with land nav. Alright, and then next is medic. The platoon sergeant picks the medic, and they work together to make the get the HLZ and AXP, all of that good stuff. And then make sure to have your squad leaders assign team leaders, so you're delegating on top of all the delegation. It just makes timex go by faster. So step one of the trip leading procedure: receive the mission from higher. Make sure to apply the 1/3 rule. When you're getting the mission, that's when the time starts for from the start to the end of your entire mission. You have to finish, let's say, an attack by like 1200, and you receive the mission at 0900. So you have one third of the 3 hours span to do the planning and 2/3 to do the execution part. So from 9 to 1000, you should have already briefed the OPORD and everybody stepping off. The step off time is 1000, because from 9 to 12 is 3 hours. 1/3 of 3 hours is 1 hour. So at 1000 is a step off time. And then from 1000 to 1200, the 2 hours, the 2 out of 3 time, you're doing the planning, you're setting up security, you're setting up, in the support by fire and all that good stuff. And once you receive the mission, you need to flip it, because most of the time they're going to give you a company level OPORD, and then you have to flip it down to your platoon size. So your mission will be the company's task to subordinate paragraph. You're not going to never repeat the mission of the company, because that's not your mission. Your mission is to carry out this task that they're giving you, and then only you as a platoon leader and platoon sergeant will receive the mission, and you have to disseminate it through squad leaders and key members like RTO, medic, everybody. So first, right after you receive the mission, you have to send out a warning order. So it should be like literally like 1 second. The squad leaders in there, and then just tell them the 5 Ws. Make sure to say the mission. Make sure to say the timeline. Hey, we have 1 hour to do this. 1000 is a step off timeline. And then brief. I'm going to brief the OPORD in like 20 minutes, and then go disseminate. Get back to me with the names of specialty teams and the time hack in 10 mics, 5 mics, whatever. So specialty team, so primary, Aiden Litter, and EPW, they should be with Assault 1 because they're going to be on the objective 100% of the time. And the secondary Aiden Litter, secondary EPW should be at least Assault 2, so that if Assault 1 everybody gets killed, then Assault 2 can come in and then do the specialty team tasks while security squad is pulling security 360 all over the place. And then so this is important. Make sure to have primary and secondary for each specialty teams. You can call in both primary and secondary to make the time go faster. And then each equipment should be carried by each team. So you're given 2 litters, so make sure each litter is given to each teams, and a claymore to the demo team, and radios to all squad leaders, the platoon sergeant, and the RTO. So 6 radios at least. And most importantly, delegate, and delegate. Do not never micromanage. You have all the squad leaders, platoon sergeant at your disposal. Make sure to utilize them, and like do not get in the way of what they're doing. Do your own. You got your own jobs to do with planning. That's the most important part. So make sure to delegate what they should be doing, and you focus on what you're doing. So once you assign the squad leaders with their special team and get back to you with the names. Oh yeah, and also to make sure to disseminate the warning order to everyone through the squad leaders to their team leaders. Where they're doing that, you go back on focusing on the rest of the planning. So assign the rest. So forward observer, you tell that FO, hey, at least 3 targets for smoke or high explosive on the objective, around the objective, for maybe bounding, assaulting line, and maybe a smoke for them, and then at least 3 targets. And then next is appointment, encompassment, plot the route right now. This is our location and the location we're going to. Give them the grid coordinates and tell them to figure it out. And then RTO, make a terrain model, or you can have the appointment do that if you have like 2 appointments or one, and then maybe the RTO can focus on the 5th paragraph, or they can set up the radios, do PCC with all the squad leaders, and frequency check. The platoon sergeant does the paragraph 4, plus with the help of the medic, mass casualty plan, dead triage location, which is a triangle made up of dead people. If you get a lot of dead people, you don't want them in your CCP casualty collection point, because that's going to demotivate the soldiers that are fighting to be alive to, they're going to see, oh shit, my friend's dead, and then they're going to like lose hope on living. So you want the dead to have their own location. And then friendly CCP, maybe let's say you have a rolling CCP 50 meters behind the element, so you have it right behind you guys, and then make sure you're separate from the enemy CCP because you don't want the enemy. Maybe they have the same clothes as, maybe it's the same uniform as us. You don't want them mixed in with the friendlies. That's going to get nasty. So enemy CCP, and they're like probably 100 meters away from everybody else. And then the medic focuses on getting the location of the HOZ, helicopter landing zone, and AXP ambulance location on a route, or if only if it's already designated for you. If not, then you call up and get the HOZ, get your own HOZ. You as a PL now, you have like, let's say, 10 minutes or so. Uh, I know you want to work as fast as you want to get the OPORD out and get everyone moving, because movement takes the most time in the mission. Because you want to make the least amount of sound and to not get noticed by the enemy while still getting eyes on the objective and getting ready to shoot them. So you as a platoon leader, with the little amount of time you have, work on paragraph 1, 2, 3, and 5, and you want to focus on paragraph 3 the most. So, alright, let's go. Let's say everything's done, right? You planned everything, everything's on time with all the time hacks. Alright, so now with the actual upper brief, you need at least 1/3 security. So make sure you're only briefing the key members of the mission, or only all the squad leaders. Um, and then now you have a turn model in front of you. So make sure in scheme of movement and maneuver, make sure to use the method of OBT, observe, box in, and terrain associate, the turn model, and make sure you use a stick. It really helps everybody out and it's brownie points. So first you want to observe uh, the terrain model. As you can see, we're going north in this direction in the way of this river. We're boxed in by not the grid location, but boxed in by the terrain features. And then lastly, terrain associates. So you see this big hill, the enemy's behind this hill. It's simple. Keep it stupid simple. All right, now you're going over paragraph 3, execution. The FO just briefed the scheme of fire. Now you gotta brief the concept of operation. So what you want to do is divide your entire mission, not the mission, divide the entire uh, movement by phases. So